Hey YouTube, what's going on? Torsar here with another video. It's going to be a sports talk video today. A lot going on in the world of sports. The NBA season just wrapped up. The NBA regular season just wrapped up. Major League Baseball's going. The Masters just wrapped up. Congratulations, Tiger, for being able to play 72 full holes. I know you didn't win, but it's amazing, man. But what I want to talk about today is the Lakers, namely Anthony Davis saying that he thinks that himself and LeBron can still be a part of a championship core. So the Lakers just fired Frank Vogel today. I don't know if it's actually become official or not yet, but we all know that's happening. And I'm not going to blame Frank Vogel. I know they're always going to need a scapegoat. He was pretty much done. You know, he's a good coach. I don't know what he was doing with the lineups this year. I know he didn't shop for those groceries. So I think there's definitely a lot of blame to go around on all points. Even if you want to blame LeBron for being the ultimate decider on the Russell Westbrook thing, to sit there and say he's a bad GM though, I don't know about that. I mean, who's the worst GM in the history of basketball? Michael Jordan, and it's not even close. So I don't know why we're talking about that just because he wanted Russell Westbrook. Like yeah, looking back, it's obvious now that the Russ thing, it's like, yeah, all right. I had hopes at the beginning of the year because I've always liked Russ. I've always been a fan of his. But when you think about what they could have had instead of him, I mean, Buddy Hield, DeMar DeRozan, they probably could have figured out a way to keep KCP and either Kuzma or Caruso. Not all of them, but they would have been able to figure out, probably how to keep at least two of those guys. It's just like, oh man, why'd you guys do that? But there's been a lot of talk about like blowing up the roster, trading AD and LeBron. You want to go back into the post Kobe years before LeBron got there, when even once Kobe got injured to when he retired, I think they were the worst team in the league for like 3 or 4 years. If you combine their, they weren't the worst team every year, but they had the worst record over a certain amount of years. So you want to go back into NBA obscurity? You know how long it takes teams to build through the draft. If you can even do it, you need some sort of superstars. It's a superstar driven league. You can only have 5 people on the floor at once. One player can affect a series so much. We've seen that with LeBron before when he was in his full prime. As much, and I still haven't made up my mind between Jordan and LeBron, because LeBron isn't done. Let him finish his career before you want. The fact that we're even debating that right now, when the man isn't even done with his career, I think just speaks to how good he is. But I will say, during that first series with the Golden State Warriors, when Kyrie and Kevin Love were hurt, I have never seen a single NBA player affect the game of basketball more than I have ever seen LeBron James affect that series, and that's including Michael Jordan at his prime, at his best. So take that for what you want. I think that's just like a little. I'm not saying that that's just one series, and I'm not saying that that means that LeBron's peak was higher than Jordan's peak. I think Jordan might have just maintained the excellence of his peak a little bit better, but that's another discussion for another day. The roster, that's going to be the toughest part, just like that was the thing that hurt him this year. Now, people want to go back to the bubble championship. I think this is the reason why people are just not even giving the Lakers a chance in the first place, or at least some people, because they're not giving them credit for the bubble championship. We all know if any other team had won that bubble championship, it wouldn't have been as big of a problem. And the thing I can't stand, and I've noticed it far more with LeBron James than any human in the history of this planet, is people make they make excuses for his success, which is just the biggest loser mentality of all time. You don't make excuses for success. If you do make any excuses, it should be for failures or why something didn't happen. not why something did happen that was in a positive light. That's just jealous, hater, loser mentality. And I just, like I said, I've noticed it with LeBron far more. For some reason, anytime the man achieves anything, people like to just give whatever, all the excuses in the world of why he accomplished it. And, they say, well, they got to rest for 4 or 5 months before the bubble. So did everyone. And people are forgetting that's revisionist history. Or you're just forgetting altogether that the Lakers were rolling along and obviously the best team in the NBA before COVID hit. They were rolling along. AD was perfectly healthy. LeBron was perfectly healthy. They had no issues whatsoever. They were rolling along and getting hot, going at the perfect time, right as the regular season was winding down, going into the playoffs. And then COVID hit and stopped all that momentum. And you had players like Giannis, who was actually hurt that spring. He needed that rest. The Bucks got lucky. Now they didn't do anything with it. And you're telling me that other people, like Kawhi Leonard, didn't get to benefit from that rest? And then what did they do? They got bounced early. And then you look at the 4 teams that played in the conference finals that year. They all had slow starts. If anything, the next season was the season that you make an excuse for. Because the Celtics, the Miami Heat, the Lakers, they all had bad records next year. They were all, I think the Celtics were even 500 even. The Heat weren't as good. The Lakers weren't as good. And the Nuggets, they still ended up with a decent record, about the same as the year before, but they did get off to a slow start that year. And it wasn't fair. Now, there's nothing you can do about it, but you're going to tell me some teams, there was just such a huge discrepancy in how much rest you got. So there were some teams that didn't even make the bubble. So they didn't play since last spring. And then there were other teams that made the bubble, yet didn't make the playoffs. And then the rest of the playoff teams, if you got bounced in the first round, you had another, or even in the early rounds, you had another month or 2 of rest. So you just had teams that had all these different, strung out along all these different lengths of time, and then you start that next NBA season 2 months later. That wasn't fair to any of those teams that had to have deep runs. So I didn't blame the Lakers for last year. This year, yeah, there's a lot of blame to go around. I agree. I think AD, he said in his interview that we can't just all blame Russ. And I totally agree with that. It wasn't Russ's fault. Russ could have played as good as he wanted to this year. AD still only played 40 games. LeBron missed a bunch of games. Frank Vogel was all over the place with the lineup. And honestly, they never should have got the guy in the first place, Like, I thought it could work out. I was wrong. So were some other people. And you know what? A lot of people, including a lot of LeBron detractors, they were right. But, dead clocks are right twice a day. So, it was a 50-50 coin flip pretty much on the Russ thing. Either you thought it was going to work or you didn't. Wow, congratulations. Some of you finally got one right. For once in your life, you finally got something right concerning LeBron James. Good job. Stop making excuses for his success, though. It's seriously, it just says something about you. I think people, I don't know why they do it. I think people think like, oh, I'm going to show LeBron, and any LeBron fan, the only reason why he won is because... No, you're just making yourself look stupid. It's seriously. That's what I hear when I hear people making excuses for his success. All I hear is, I am a stupid human being. That's the words I hear. So I think, if with the caveat, and you can use this for anyone, if they're healthy, I think the obvious answer is yes. Of course LeBron and AD can still be part of a championship core. All right, and the blowing the team up, no, you can't do that. You can't do that. You could, but you're just going to go back into obscurity for years. They got to figure out something to do with Russell Westbrook. They can't try to run that back. That's for certain. And they will be able to get rid of him if they want to. It's just, what are you going to get in return? because you're going to have to take some sort of albatross contract back. That the other team has this guy that they kind of misjudged. He was injured or whatever, and he's still signed for 2 or 3 years, and they just want to get rid of the contract. So they'll say, well, we'll take Russ and we'll give you this, but you're going to have to take, maybe even two of them, you're going to have to take. And that's going to be the key, is what are those players that you're going to be able to get for that. And then pretty much it's going to come down to, are these reclamation projects going to work? I don't know if there's anyone out there who fits that bill. You could look at some of the teams, like look who Charlotte has. Look who maybe, I don't even know who would want Russ. That's the one I've been hearing, Charlotte, a lot. You could find some other teams. Oh, maybe the Pacers, see who they have. It's going to be tough, though, because even if you just cut them, you're probably still, that's still going to count against, the cap. So it's going to be tough. They definitely have an uphill battle, but I definitely think the thing I trust the least in the whole scenario is AD staying healthy. That's the thing I trust. Even a year 20 LeBron, he's year 19. You think there's really going to be a huge drop off between year 19 and year 20? No, I don't think so. And I don't know who they're going to get for a coach, but I mean, it's the Lakers, whether it's, I don't know. I don't like some of the names that I've been hearing, like the Doc Rivers, Quinn Snyder stuff. Like, no. No. Kurt Rambis, no. Interview Mark Jackson. Hell, interview Jeff Van Gundy. Find some young up-and-comer. Give one of these hot assistants in the league a chance. Something. But yes, they definitely can still be a part of a championship core. It's a superstar-driven league. You only have 5 players on the court at once. That's 2 of the 5 you have right there. And they're both top 5, well, I won't say top 5, top 10 talents in the league if they're both healthy. And there's only so many teams in the league that have that. So, I'm hoping they can. The league's always better when the Lakers are in it and good, just like, you see all these, like, legacy teams in all these sports. It's just better when they're rolling along, when they're, because we're going to talk about them anyway. Look, I'm talking about them right now. They're probably the most popular subject. You go to any of these, if they're talking about basketball on any of these channels, they're most likely talking about the Lakers, probably far more than any other team, and they're not even going to make the playoffs, right? Even when the Yankees aren't good, we're talking about them. Look at the Cowboys in football. When's the last time we won anything? And they're still by far the most popular team in football. And that's proven in TV ratings and sales. People can argue all they want. No, the Cowboys are the most valuable sports franchise in the entire world, even over all those mega soccer teams. So we need those cornerstone franchises to be good, and blowing up that, man, unless LeBron wants to leave, you don't blow that team up. But anyways, what do you guys think? The usual, like, comment, subscribe if you feel like it. And until the next one, peace.